Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing great. Thanks for joining us today. We are thrilled to have Siddharth with us, a true expert in the world of credit card rewards and maximizing benefits. Siddharth hails from Tamil Nadu, began his career as a freelance digital marketer over a decade ago. His journey into credit card rewards opened up a world of affordable travel, enabling him to explore multiple countries. Through his blog, Card Expert, Siddharth now guides his followers on how to make the most of reward points, helping them enjoy free flights, hotel stays, and vacations year around. So please join me in welcoming Siddharth as he shares his expertise and tips on turning everyday expenses into remarkable travel and lifestyle experiences. Over to you, Siddharth.
Thank you, Shrikant, for that quick intro. I'm just opening. Cool. You're able to see, right? Everything is good. Great. Thank you, everyone, for joining for the session. I hope everyone at this time are aware of the credit cards a little bit. So this session would help you understand even more, delve deeper into the credit card strategy to make the most out of it through free flights, hotels, and a lot more. So yeah, I focus generally on the luxury experiences, but I have planned this session in such a way that it helps everyone. So irrespective of whether your spend is like annual spend is like 2 lakh or 20 lakh, it's gonna help you. So let's start with my story, how how I got into the credit cards thing. So it's been about 12 years. Back in time, there were not really any blogs or YouTube videos or the reels that you see these days. So I was searching for credit cards, but I couldn't find the right one with a good reward rate. So I researched a lot and then figured out that this is an amazing industry to explore. And given that I was having a good amount of spends back then, I thought this is a must to explore. So then I decided to explore, and then I started the blog because back in time, not really any blog was written about credit cards. So perhaps Card Expert is the first ever dedicated credit card blog in the country that is dedicated only to credit cards primarily, and a little bit around the travel as well, because what do we do with the points? We have to travel, right? So that's how it branched out. So that's where it started. And yeah, it's been about 12 years I have started. So earlier back in time, the first credit card when I took, it was the reward rate was like 0.5%. So I then realized that I could get 3 to 4% easily on my spends. So it was a big change because my spends were high. So it all started like that. And now a decade later, I've taken like hundreds of flights, stayed at hotels over 120 or 135, just recently checked. So 150 nights or something like that in the last couple of years, all on points. So yeah, I'll help you do the same. The only thing, all you need is the spend. And if you have small spend, that is also fine. You can get returns equivalent to that. If you have high spends, sky's the limit. You can just travel for free across the globe. So I've been to almost like 15 countries now, mostly on points. Let's say about 80% of them on points. So yeah, it's a great thing to explore. And yeah, it adds experience to the life. Rather than we spend from the pocket. When we spend from the pocket, we do not spend much. So but when we spend through points, we generally are very liberal in the spend. So that gives us more luxury experiences. So yeah, that's all how it started. And now we have about close to 1 million users on the blog. So I'm not really active on the blog lately, but most of the most important content is all there, up to date, and it's pretty sufficient at the moment, is what I feel. So yes, so let's start with the basics. So why should we use the credit cards? The first thing, I got the credit card was primarily for the rewards, of course, but the other most important is the buyer protection. So When you buy through debit cards, not all the debit cards has this chargeback ability. These days, most of the banks have added it, but it's primarily with the credit cards, wherein you buy anything and it's safe. Let's say you wanted to buy something from a merchant that is not known to you, maybe domestic, maybe international. You just buy it, and when they do not send you the servers or the product, you can just raise a dispute with the bank, and then they would process it. So within a week, usually you get back from the buyer, the seller, that there is an update on your order and all that stuff. So this is pretty good. And speaking of the buyer protection, Amex is very strong. Generally, when you buy something with Amex, it's 100% sure that you will get your money back. With others, it is still good, but Amex, I always feel much more safer with Amex, because they own the entire system, the merchant, the buyer, seller, and everything, including the bank, which is them, right? So that's why it's very strong with Amex. But even other credit card issuers are pretty good as well. So then you get access to the credit line. So this is nothing but the credit limit that you get with the credit cards. So it is pretty good when you want something out of emergency, like during the COVID time. I know very many who use the credit cards for the credit limit, because they couldn't arrange funds like 5-10 lakhs easily. So, but credit cards were helpful. And it also improves the credit score, which is the CIBIL score, which is the most important these days. There are also other credit rating agencies called what is that? CRISIL. There are so many. Credit rating agencies, but CIBIL is most important. That's what most banks look for. And when you use the credit cards, especially when you have multiple credit cards, like 2 or 3 credit cards, it really improves the CIBIL score. And coming to the benefits and rewards, they are the most important, of course. And let's start with benefits. Most of you know about the lounge access these days. Unfortunately, they are always very crowded and not really the good place to go. But I think banks are working on it. Recently, almost most of the banks have set a spend criteria, wherein only after you spend like 25,000 or 75,000, you get the lounge access for that quarter if you have spent 75,000 the previous quarter. So I think the recent change was from ICCI, but almost everyone has it these days on the entry level cards. Only the super premium cards are given the access without the spend criteria. So with this happening, I think the grandeur of the lounge access will be back as well, but that is the case at the moment. So then the merchant offers, by the way, there is also railway lounges these days, slowly expanding. So that is also something you can explore. IDFC cards give access to railway lounges. I don't think other cards give. So, but yeah, airport lounges, most cards gives. The merchant offers, of course, you know about the Amazon and Flipkart and all that offers. And the hotel elite tiers, some cards, the premium cards gives access to premium hotel elite tiers like Marriott Gold or something similar, the Hilton Gold, for example, with Amex. So, and apart from that, you get also Forex markup fees, lower Forex markup fees. Some cards also have 0% markup. And we'll see some cards on that later in the session. So you also get the international travel insurance cover. You have the travel insurance cover generally, but this is a little different. International travel insurance, wherein like when you apply for the visas to Europe, they ask for the travel insurance. So some cards gives that kind of travel insurance. Actually, only one card gives at the moment. For the entire year, there are some cards that gives for a short time as well, like 1 week, 2 weeks, something like that, like with the Amex flat charge. But generally, it's an amazing benefit when you can find cards with it. And then you get luxury experiences like airport meet and greet and the golf. The airport meet and greet is very useful, especially when you're flying economy, because they can take you in through the to the air side pretty quick. Sometimes in some airports, they may not be able to take you through the business class line or the staff lane, but generally there'll be someone to assist with everything. And it also comes with a porter. So if you have lots of bags, so that is really helpful. Especially in the big airports wherein you wanted to walk a lot, this is very useful. It can be a wild during arrival or during departure, but generally I use it during departure. It's pretty useful. So, and you get access to the golf as well. Golf, this is quite underrated, I would say. If you are living in a city that has a golf course that the cards access to, I think it's amazing, especially during the winter time, wherein you can spend a lot of time in the ground. So it's an amazing game. I explored it for some time, a couple of months. It's been years, 2 3 years since I started exploring a golf. And even before COVID, I have a little bit explored. So it's been almost 5 years, I would say. It's quite addictive once you get into it, but fortunately, I do not live in a big city, so I do not have the golf course. So I'm glad that I do not have access. But if you have not explored and if you have cards with access, I think you should definitely explore. Maybe for you or maybe for your kids, at least, it's pretty good to keep them active, focused, and all that stuff. So it's good. And coming to the crux of the session, the rewards. So the most important advantage of the credit cards for me and for most people that I know is the rewards. Of course, it depends. It depends on the spend as well, I would say, because it always depends on the profile. When someone has a higher spend, anywhere beyond 5 10 lakhs, it's definitely rewards is the most important thing that one should look at before choosing the card. Otherwise, it doesn't matter really much. But yeah, otherwise, if you have good spends, you can get access to the free flights, hotels, shopping vouchers, and cashback. This again depends on your personal need. I usually go for the travel redemptions, which is flights and hotels. Sometimes I also go for the cashback because with the cashback I can do anything. And given that now we have amazing cashback cards, I think it's worth exploring. A combination of all these is what I would say. So generally, the reward rates ranges from 2% to 10% when you choose the cards pretty well. So in the industry, generally for the entry level cards, it is 1%, and the premium cards it is 2%, and when you go for travel and the super premium cards, it can go a little over 3% or even 10 20% if you can max out every benefit out of it. So even 18% is possible, but of course it's with the invite only cards or the very HNI cards, something like that. So we'll explore those cards that we are speaking about. So this is just a quick overview. So we have seen the recap, buyer protection, credit limit, and the credit score. It helps to increase the CIBIL score, the benefits and rewards. And let's see a quick look at my redemptions. I have, I think I told I have taken hundreds of flights. So out of them, I have taken at least like 20, 30 business class tickets. Like when I fly out of the country to Europe or Africa, in which the flight time is like 7 8 hours. I generally go for the business class redemptions because it is pretty good. They give with a live flat bed. So and the points requirement is also not so high these days. It's pretty good. I think roughly 60,000 points is what one would need to fly business class one way from India to Europe or India to almost most places like Africa or Southeast Asia and all that. Southeast Asia is in fact a little lower. It's about 40,000 points. So roughly that's how it is. And I've flown about 10 different airlines from Vistara to Lufthansa. So it is all good. I would say it's pretty good to experience the bed in the sky. So some snaps. This is actually pretty old, but yeah. And apart from the flights, I have also used in hotels. So I have redeemed in India and also across the globe. So It is easy at the moment in India. The redemptions are pretty good with ITC and Akkar. Akkar hotels, however, is not so popular. Not many footfalls in Akkar hotels in India, so it is good abroad. But in India, Taj and ITC are good. Taj vouchers you get with Amex generally, and ITC we can get a lot of points through the Axis Bank credit cards. So it's a combination of credit cards, and this is JW Marriott Golf Share, and this redemption was through Marriott. So Marriott points can be accumulated through Amex. So yeah, there are so many cards at the moment, and I think India has more than 200, 300 cards if you count across multiple banks. But if you look at the best cards, I would say I think there are only like 20 to 30 cards, and out of them, even when you look at for your profile, that is based on your profile, whether you are into entry level, premium, or travel, super premium, ultra premium, you could easily choose less than 5 cards. Um, so there are so many cards, and I'm going to help you to find. So how do you find? So the easiest way to find the best cards is because through the reward rate. Reward rate is when you're spending 1 lakh, how much you are getting. So if you're getting 1,000 rupees back, it's a 1% reward rate. If you're getting 10,000 rupees back, it's a 10% reward rate. So reward rate is the key to find the best credit cards. So having said that, there are so many cards, and I have chosen few cards that are really good and worth exploring. I have chosen one card for every segment so that you will get a rough idea as to which card you really need for you, so that you can get the best out of your spends. So if you're into entry level credit cards, if you're spending like less than 5 lakhs a year, and if it is largely online, then this card is an amazing card because you get 5% cashback on all online spends. This is the best card in India, and this is the best cashback credit card in India. And in fact, I would say this is the best cashback credit card in the world. This is because of few reasons. Because 5% on online spends is very rare, and then you get the 5% directly to your account. You don't need to do anything, and it gets added to your statement the next statement itself, the next month itself. Within 2 days of the statement generation, you get the cashback. You don't need to do anything, and 5% is very high for an entry level card. So generally, if you have noticed, I said the entry level cards usually gives only 1% reward rate, 1% or 2%, but here it is like 5%, and on all spends. It is not limited to like Amazon or Flipkart. Like you also have the Amazon Flipkart cards where they give 5%, but it's only limited to that merchant. Here you get the 5% with almost all the merchants. Some travel merchants, they're not giving the cashback, but generally you get the cashback with most merchants. And there is a limit, which is 5,000 cashback a month, which is a spend of 1 lakh, which is pretty good, I believe. You could easily get 60,000 cashback just like that if your monthly spends are 1 lakh a month. So it's a wonderful card. Even though I focus on the super premium segment, I personally have that card. Like it's an amazing card. I use it once in a while when my online spends are very high. So next is the premium credit card. So if you're someone who's not traveling much but still have once or twice a travel abroad, I think this is the best card because this gives the lounge access not only for the self but also for the add-on card holders. You can give the add-ons to anyone in the family. And the good news is they will also get the priority pass, which means your lounge access requirement for both domestic and international is sorted with this card. There are also many other HDFC Bank credit cards, but this is generally a popular card just for the lounge access. And if you're looking into the travel credit card to begin with, this is something you should never miss it because you can get a reward rate of 4% to 5% easily, very easily with this card. And you can transfer it to ITC and stay at the ITC hotels in India. So that is there. Or you can also transfer to Akkar and get almost close to 10%. So almost 10% on your spends is very high. So this is why the Atlas card is extremely lucrative at the moment. And the fee is also not that high for the returns that it's giving. Yes, there are some caps on this card, but still it is a wonderful card, I would say. It's an amazing travel card. So if you're into international travel and if you're traveling quite often to a couple of countries across the globe, then this is a must have because it has 0% markup fee and it also gives you worldwide travel insurance for one complete year. So I've been traveling past 2 years. Almost every month I go to a different country. Not every month, every 2 months, something like that. And I don't need to take a travel insurance every single month because this travel insurance, covers me for the entire year, and I can also use it for procuring the visa, like Schengen visas or UK visa and all that stuff. So it is extremely useful, and I'm just enjoying it. So it's worth going for it if you are an international traveler, a frequent international traveler, I would say. So, and the super premium cards. There are many super premium cards, but this is most important because it gives 4.5% return on online spends, which is pretty good, which is as good as the SBA cashback. But SBA cashback card isn't useful for everyone. Sometimes some merchants may not give the cashback. So if you're in that range or if you have a very higher spend, then you can go for this. Generally, if the spends are in the to the north of like 10-20 lakhs a year, I think that this is when you need to go for this. It also gives unlimited lounge access, and one of the biggest advantage these days with the S Bank cards is that it also gives access to the arrival lounges in Bangalore. So there are two arrival lounges these days. So it's pretty good. It's very nice. And coming to the redemptions, you can redeem these points for flights and hotels directly. HDFC has a limitation, like you can redeem only 70% of the points, wherein 30% you have to pay by card. But that limitation is not here with this card. Not only that, you can also redeem for other type of vouchers. For example, I sometimes redeem these marquee points for Zomato vouchers, which is pretty good. So good for dining. This is the best super premium credit card if your spends are very high. If your monthly spends are in the range of 2-3 lakhs a month, or 30 lakhs a year, then this is a must-have card because it gives a return of 10%. When you do the math, it gives a wonderful return of 10%, minimum 10%, I would say, because you get a higher reward rate after you hit the 1.5 lakh a month. So it's just an amazing card, but you need to have the access Burgundy account with the bank to get this Magnus Burgundy card. It costs 30,000 at the moment. It's not the annual fee that I mentioned is for the regular Magnus. That is good, but not that great. But the best one is the Magnus Burgundy card, which is 30,000 fee card, but still it's an outstanding card, especially when the spends are very high. So there are so many cards as well, apart from these cards like the Emerald, the Private, and the HSBC Premier. Even the Tata New card, if you're into UPI, Tata New card is also pretty good. And we have Amex, so many Amex cards as well, like the Amex Platinum Travel is good. And if your spends are in the range of 10,000, 20,000 range a month, you can go for the membership rewards card, Amex membership rewards card. There are so many cards. I have the complete list and I keep updating at least once or twice in a quarter, and you can have a look at it just by searching online or going to the website Card Expert. So the list is there, and the detailed explanation or the review of each of the card is also there, just in case if you wanted to know. So apart from the credit cards, there are also debit cards with which you could get some value. Here are some of the debit cards. The Bob Sapphire. It is good for airport transfers. So you get complimentary airport transfers every quarter with this card, which is amazing actually. So Bob Sapphire is the name. And HDFC premium cards are also pretty good. You get 1% up to 750 rupees every month with the HDFC premium credit debit cards. So it is useful. Sometimes people pay credit card bills using the debit card. These days it is open. It was not there before. So it helps for that kind of purposes, or even if you're not having much of credit cards, you can explore this. So which means if you're getting 3% on your credit cards, if you're using the right debit cards and then paying for the bill, you get another 1%, which is like 4%, which is pretty good. And Indusint Pioneer debit card is also good. It has 0% markup fee. I personally use that for forex spends abroad, especially when I wanted to take the money back. So I went to all the countries. So generally these days I don't need to take money out of ATM. But if I ever wanted to uh, do that, I usually used to do it in when I used to travel to Southeast Asian countries, wherein sometimes you need cash. So you go to any country, just use the card and then take money just like a local, and you just get their money. There is no additional charges whatsoever. Sometimes there is the ATM fee, but generally most ATMs in most countries do not have this charge, especially when you're using a government bank in that particular country. So it is a wonderful card, Pioneer debit card. There are also other cards like Indus exclusive signature card that has this benefit, but I have mentioned this because I think they're also running some offers recently, so I felt it's good to list it. So yeah, that's about the festive offers. So we have seen some best credit cards, debit cards, and let's now speak about the festive offers, because now we are in the Diwali season. Um, so the banks usually every year, and I have been monitoring the industry for almost like a decade. So every year, what they do is they send targeted spend-based offers. Not all the banks do it, but some banks do it. Like 5 years ago, almost all banks used to do it except one or two. But these days, it is going down almost every year. Only very few banks are doing it. But if you have these cards and if you have received the offer, I think it's a wonderful way to save an extra 3 or 4% on your credit cards. So let's say you get 3% back on your cards regularly. Now these kind of offers will get you additional 3-4%. So I have listed one of the Amex offer, so which is like you will spend 4 lakhs uh, in the period of September, October, November, roughly. So 3 months, 4 lakhs, and you get Taj, which is worth 12,000. So this is like almost 3%, and you also get the regular rewards of 1%. And if you are having the a travel card, you also get additional rewards on the milestone and all that stuff. So you can multi dip on all these offers and get a higher return on your spend. So Amex is usually very well known for this festive offer, but there are also other offers as well. So HSBC also has run a very good offer. I think they are also giving a 3% return. In fact, you can get an iPhone Pro if you're spending a higher amount, like 10 lakhs in 2 months, which is like 20-30 lakhs roughly. So it's pretty good. They also have a lower end variant as well, like you spend 5 lakhs and get something else as well. So Indus also has sent a targeted offer. RBL also has sent. RBL has sent to a very few set of customers, I believe, but Amex, HSBC, and IndusInd have sent to most. I have received from those three. So I could say. And coming to IndusInd, they not only send this offer to the credit card, but also the debit cards, which is pretty interesting this year. So even last year they used to do, but this year it's very aggressive. So that is also you can look out. So if you have these cards or these banks, so just check out your emails, and if you have not noticed before, so that you could save extra on your festive spends. So open to the queries. So please ask. I think you can raise your hand and Shrikant will help.
Um, yeah, I guess we have a question in Q&A. Someone, I don't know the name, it's anonymous attendee. So, what's the annual fee of SBI cashback card you just discussed?
I think it's 1,900, something like that. And yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, if anyone's having any queries, please raise your hand so that I'll add you to the panel. So, you can directly talk to that.
Yeah. And also, speaking of the annual fee, most of the cards you have to pay something and then you get an equivalent benefit as a welcome benefit. For the annual fee, when your spends are like 2-3 lakhs, or for cashback card, I think the requirement is 3 lakhs, something like that. When you spend that much, the renewal fee would be waived off. I mean, that is a usual standard across most of the banks. So that also you can keep it in mind.
We have a question in question Q&A. I'm currently using HDFC Millennia credit card. How effective is it for traveling within India?
It is good, but I would suggest to use the Atlas card if you're interested in the travel benefits, because the return on spend that you get with Atlas is huge. As I said, you get 5 to 10%. In fact, if you focus only on Akkar hotels, you can easily get 10% return on spend. With Millennia, you can get only 1 or 2% roughly. So that's almost 5 times more rewards. So that's what I would say. Access Atlas.
We have a question from is Atlas of HDFC?
Sorry, it's Access Atlas. It's not from
Okay,
HDFC.
HDFC. Okay. So we have one question from Sushant Main. Is it true that credit cards offer life insurance coverage as well? If not, what kind of insurance they offer?
No, no, it's not life insurance coverage. So sometimes credit cards are generally known for accidental death insurance, so something like that.
Yeah.
But I would suggest not to get into that kind of insurance. So accidental cover is there, but they will have clauses wherein you should have spent this much. So if you're not using a particular card and then still having a cover on it, it won't apply, and things like that are there. So the insurance that I have mentioned in this is the international travel insurance, which is completely different from this insurance that it's not life insurance, or it's not the accidental cover, but it's the health insurance. I would say it is usually called as the international travel insurance, which will cover the accident abroad when you're traveling abroad. So that is what it is usually good for. Usually Amex used to give this benefit for a week or two when you're traveling with the platinum charge card. They cover it for you for a week or two. But there is one card which is the RBL World Safari card that gives a complete 1 year international travel insurance. That is the only good card I know at the moment when we speak about the insurance. All else has a lot of terms and conditions. It's not worth exploring, is what I would say.
Hey, one question is like how many cards is ideal? I mean, I know because I am someone who is using 6 credit cards. Okay. And I know for each one is it for a different purpose. For example, I have an SBI Octane card, which is only for the fuel purpose. I get like
Right.
6.25% cashback. Right.
Okay.
So we end up having like multiple cards. And the biggest challenge is some cards you will have to spend so much amount, otherwise you end up paying annual fee. Right. So what is the ideal number of cards that one can have? And what is the drawback if somebody is not using that card? Say for example, I have like 4-5 cards, but I end up using only 1 or 2 mostly, right? So for my purpose.
So okay, I got it. So of course it depends on the profile. To begin with, I think most people with a 10 lakh or 12 lakh spend range, I think 2-3 cards is sufficient. But for some people, if they are into travel also, if they want the Vistara cards, I mean co-brand cards, then it becomes more. I think 3 to 5 is an ideal number. Anything more than 5 is little over. And speaking of the fuel cards, the fuel cards are designed exactly in such a way that they might look like they are giving a higher return, but the trap here is they will make you to spend on other things that will drop the reward rate down, and also you need to spend more to get the renewal fee waiver. So you said 6.5, right? So when you do the math to get the renewal fee waiver, that number will go down. It will become like 3% or something like
It's
that.
like, yeah, exactly. You said 2 lakhs you have to spend to have the renewal waiver, right? Otherwise, it's 1,500. But 6.5% is something they give. So somebody is like putting fuel for 10,000 per month. They will easily like 1.2 lakhs. Yeah, as you said, like for other spends, it's very less.
Yes, and also that one point of it. Beyond that, I think 75,000 or something you have to spend on the normal
Normal thing.
wherein you get only very few points, like 0.5% or something, right? So
Correct.
it averages out. That is a very the concept of the fuel card. So that's why I personally do not recommend fuel cards to anyone. Rather than there are ways to go about it. So I personally use the ICICI FASTag for fueling my cars and bikes. So I hope you're aware of it, or do I wanted to cover that?
No, I'm not here of ICC FASTag cards.
So you can use your FASTag to pay for the fuel. The balance on your FASTag can be used to pay
Oh,
for the fuel. So that is, it is little tricky. It is little, you have to go around a little bit, but I'll tell you how it works. So it works through the HP Pay app. You just need to link your FASTag with the HP Pay, and while you're paying for the fuel at the bunk, you just take the HP Pay app, scan the QR code, and then choose your FASTag as the payment option, and then the funds gets debited from the FASTag. So, and the new thing that has opened up recently is you can recharge your ICICI FASTag using your Amazon Pay balance. Given that most of us can get discounted Amazon Pay vouchers, for example, not discounted I would say, but you get lots of reward points when you buy these vouchers from HDFC or Amex reward multiplier, right? So you get easily over 10% savings. So that's what I personally do. I've been doing it almost like 2 3 years, so it works well. So it's good for normal
but you can fuel fill only petrol in HP, is it? Is that the one?
yes,
Okay.
it's
You
limited
need
to
to
HP.
download the app and pay through the FASTag amount.
Right.
Great. That's something new to me. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome.
Hi Siddharth, hi Shrikant.
Yeah,
Um,
hi.
Hi. So my question is basically the policies that we have for credit card in India. Okay, so I find that I have used Bank of America credit cards, the Discovery credit cards, Amex credit card abroad. Okay, I find them more beneficial when you compare to when you use them in abroad while you use in India. I'll just give you an example. So generally they come up with an example, right? If you spend $1,000, we'll give you $200 off. Okay, so
Mhm.
I have to make purchase of, let us say, expensive cameras and all. They straight
Mhm.
away refund you $200. But that is not the case in India. In India, generally what happens is when you try to redeem it, then they will show you the star marking. It is for this purpose only. It is for this product only. So when it comes to the policy, I mean, which credit card company or which banking company is more transparent when it comes to the credit cards?
Okay, it is a little complicated because the reward system is made in such a way that it is not easily available to end users. But the quick question is, American Express cards are generally good, legal, because they operate across so many countries, so they keep it very transparent. But the problem again here is their reward rate is little low. Not little, it is a lot lower compared to the competition like Axis Bank and all that. So speaking about the cards in abroad and all that, so I'll give you a rough example and rough comparison, I would say. I think the poll is running. So Shrikant, did you run it or by mistake?
Yes, sir. Sorry to interrupt. I thought of announcing later. So, meanwhile, when Siddharth is explaining to Sushant, you can give a feedback and please raise your hands. I'll allow you to the panel, and we'll sort all the questions meanwhile.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So Shushant, so I have explored the US cards a little bit, and some of my friends are having the US cards as well. So from what I have seen, the US cards give a wonderful sign up bonus. They give amazing sign up bonus. But the thing is also that you need to spend quite a bit to get the sign up bonus. Like to get 60,000, 50,000 points, or even 100,000 points, one needs to spend 4 lakh to 5 lakh, which is 4,000 USD, roughly something like that, which is not available, which is definitely huge. I mean, you get almost 10% return or something like that with in the US when you sign up for the new cards, which is great. But I personally feel the cards in India are so good because the ongoing reward rate is very good. So when you look at the cards in US, the ongoing reward rate is not really good. I know so many who are having the US cards, they are still not using it because the ongoing reward rate is very low compared to Indian cards. For example, in a profile that usually people have the US cards, they can usually get the Magnus Burgundy or sometimes even the Burgundy Private. So that gives 10% return just like that. And if someone is using Akar, it is outstanding. They can get 18% return. So I feel Indian cards are good, but I think the example that you gave is specific to the offers or discounts which is not really popular in India. That is not really popular. But for your question, I think American Express cards generally live with their words, whatever they say, and they are really legitimate, I would say. They are so good that whatever they say, they will make sure to honor it. So, for example, I had a situation wherein I had the Amex travel card like 7 8 years ago. I used to get the Indigo vouchers. The voucher, I'm supposed to use it on 31. It's supposed to expire on 31, but when I used it, it expired already because internally there was some tech glitch and they expired on one day before 30th. So I did raise this query, and they gave, within like 10 15 minutes of checking with the team and all that stuff, they gave me 10,000 direct statement credit instead of the voucher and all that stuff. So Amex is really good if you're looking for something so legitimate and all that. Amex is good, but generally most credit cards are also decent. They are not that bad to look at it in that way. Yeah.
I get it, what you're saying. So currently, I'm holding the HSBC Premier card,
Okay.
and
Okay.
like you mentioned, I mean, they are straight away offering certain things for the joining fee. I mean, they don't have any annual fees, but they are offering it for the joining fee.
Yeah, HSBC Premier is good. I hold the card as well. But generally, if you're spending more than 2 3 lakhs, I would personally prefer the Magnus Burgundy because with the HSBC Premier, you get only 3%, 3.3% roughly, and with the Magnus Burgundy, you get 10%. So uh, yeah, that is how it is. And speaking of HSBC, they also are running a festive offer now, so probably you could explore that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Siddharth.
Speaking of insurance, someone asked about the insurance, right? I just thought of adding one more thing to it. So there are some cars that also give the roadside assistance. It's not really insurance, but it's sometimes useful. So, for example, IDFC Bank credit cards, most of those credit and debit cards comes with the roadside assistance. So just like if you wanted to fill fuel for free, or if you wanted to jumpstart your cars for some reason, if it's down, it is pretty useful. I have used at least twice, so you could save a few thousands sometimes when you're far away and you do not have the access to the dealer or the workshop pretty quick. So especially the jumpstart is pretty useful. They just come and then get it sorted. So that's about the insurance thing that I wanted to just add on. Yeah.
So I don't know, Vinod isn't accepting the panelist list. So meanwhile, we can answer a few questions which I've raised in the Q&A. So not sure if this is related to the discussion, but would it affect the CIBIL score if we have multiple cards?
It would affect positively, I would say. So generally, if your CIBIL score is less, it will help you to increase it. What I would suggest is, if you're focusing on increasing or improving your CIBIL score, I would suggest spending closer to the credit limit once in a year, and then go back to the normal spending of 20 to 30% of the credit limit. So that is really good because your spend will be recorded, and the CIBIL will know that you have the ability to spend and then repay. Not only that, when you're getting a new card, they will also honor you with a higher credit limit because they have seen you spend more on one of the card and then repay back, so they can expect you do the same on their card. So yep, that's something I would suggest with respect to CIBIL. And when you have multiple cards, generally when you're taking a new loan or something, the score doesn't actually go down. For me, I've been monitoring it almost for like 8 9 years. My score never goes down below 780, 790, sometimes 770 for some reason. I mean, recently I had some problem. Otherwise, generally it's between 770 to 790. And even if I apply for 2 3 4 cards in 2 3 months, because I have so many cards, I currently have, I think, 15 active cards, something like that. So because I have so many cards, they give a positive feedback very often that the points that's going down can easily be recovered quickly, even for someone who's having only 2 or 3 cards, or even if the CIBIL profile is very new. Even in that case, credit cards definitely can help. Credit cards, in fact, is one of the primary way to improve the CIBIL score.
For online shopping, can you suggest one card which can be used across platforms?
SBI cashback card is the best. We saw that card. Yeah, it's good. It gives 5% cashback across most of the online shopping portals. Yeah, go for it. That's great card.
Next question is from Kamlesh. You may have covered this already, but can you please tell me which credit card allows booking airline tickets based on the points? Which means like he meant 100% via points.
Airline tickets. Okay. So there is no 100%, I would say, but I mean, there is a small taxes that needs to be paid. So speaking about flight tickets, there are so many options. So is it domestic or international that you are looking for? So that, and that would make the difference. But I will give you a rough idea of this particular thing, flight redemptions. So for domestic, generally Vistara is there, and now it's going to become Air India. So that is where you need to redeem the points. So roughly for the domestic sector, you would need 5,000 to 10,000 points one way, and taxes would be like 1,000 rupees. So that is how economy ticket works in India, within India, domestic tickets. And if you want to fly business, the requirement would be roughly something like 20,000 to 30,000 points when we get the Air India. Earlier, it used to be much better. Sometimes you get even for 14, 18,000 something. But the Vistara, I have flown Vistara a lot, business class, so it's really useful. But yeah, that's how it is. So that's about it for flights. Apart from miles or points, you can also get the vouchers. For example, Vistara cards, which is going to become Air India cards, has a couple of cards wherein you spend like 3 lakhs, 5 lakh, 10 lakhs. They give you the voucher. It can be economy or premium economy or business class. You just redeem them. You just need to pay 1,000 rupees extra for the taxes or something. So that is how the domestic scene works. So now international. So if you wanted to redeem flights for international travel, there are a couple of options. Usually the most popular one at the moment in 2024 or even 2023, I would say, is Aeroplan, Air Canada's Aeroplan. You can transfer your Axis Bank credit card points to Aeroplan and then redeem the flights. So why it is popular is because the requirement for the business class is it's quite good, because in 2022 2023 usually the United used to be very popular, wherein you just need 60,000 points for most of the flights across Europe. It used to be wonderful, but now they have devalued it, so only Aeroplan is pretty good now. I have personally redeemed quite a lot of Aeroplan redemptions recently also. So it is pretty good. I have been to Africa and also to Europe using the Aeroplan redemptions. Roughly, you would need 60,000 points plus 10,000 to 20,000 in taxes. So that is the rough requirement if you want me to put in. Now for Europe and for Southeast Asia, usually Singapore Airlines is good. Singapore Airlines, you would need roughly 40,000 for business class. Similar 10,000 approximate, approximate for the taxes. So this is for business class. If you're looking for economy, it is half, usually half. It is 20,000 for Southeast, and here it is 30,000 for Europe. And sometimes there are also sweet spots. For example, Virgin Atlantic, you can fly from India to LHR, London, for just 10,000 miles plus 10,000 taxes roughly. 10,000 miles is usually is same, but the taxes usually goes up a little bit. Sometimes it's 15,000 or 20,000. So even if you look at the fair value, the revenue rate is 40 to 50,000 now to London from India. Either it is Bombay or Bangalore. I just checked yesterday for Bangalore, it is only 10,000 miles plus roughly 15,000 in taxes. So which is just 25,000. So onward it is low, but return it would be a little higher because London has the taxes. So, but generally speaking, these are some of the ways. There are so many other options as well, like international. If you wanted to fly within Europe, which is intra-Europe flights, United is also good. By then, I have recently used to fly from Paris to Barcelona through Brussels through United Airlines only. So it is good. There are so many options, and that's what makes this game very big. The redemptions for international flights it's a very big thing, and one would need to spend quite a lot of time in it. Generally, it does make sense when you have higher spends and also equivalent travel. So yeah, these are some of the examples that you could explore. So Singapore Airlines for Southeast, Aeroplan for most routes, and United for intra-Europe at the moment. It is also good for US. You get economy for 45,000 miles only, and sometimes you get it for 35,000 miles for Europe. So yeah, these are the popular ones at the moment.
I had a couple of questions. The first one was, what are your views on the HDFC Swiggy card, especially for online spends as well, since it gives 5% on all channels. So have you explored that? And the second question is with the Axis Atlas. So that's one of the other cards I use primarily. So I have a lot of edge miles accumulated. So apart from Accor, what are the other ways in which you could get a higher return on that card, apart from the standard 4%, which you could get from booking flights using those points, etc.? Any other hacks that you have for that? So yeah, these are my two questions.
Right. So starting with a Swiggy card, it is good if you do not have the super premium cards. Otherwise, it does not make sense for most. For example, I can buy the Swiggy vouchers or Amazon voucher per se through HDFC Infinia and get 3x 5x points, and that is equivalent to almost 15%. So Swiggy card is good if you do not have the Infinia, or if you do not want to use that kind of buying vouchers and then using it on the Swiggy. It for direct it is good, but generally for most in the ecosystem, who are exploring so many super premium cards or premium cards for that matter, it is not a great option. However, if given that you are speaking about Atlas and all that stuff, I'm sure you would have explored a couple of cards. If you feel that for your profile it is good, I would say it is good. Definitely it is not poor. It is a decent card. The Swiggy card is a decent card, so you can continue with it, but you can also explore this buying vouchers and using it. I personally buy the vouchers, Amazon vouchers, and use it across Zomato and Swiggy. Sometimes I also redeem the points from the S-Bank cards for the Zomato, as I said a few minutes back. So that is also there. So I do a combination of that stuff to make sure I don't spend much. When we had the Zomato card, it used to be amazing, of course. So for almost 2 years, I never spent on food. So that used to be good. But yeah.
Sorry, just to interrupt on that, Siddharth, I was saying in comparison with an SBI cashback card, if I have to compare it with that, and I'm asking because with SBI, I face issues with, one is there is a round off with the cashback that they give, and there have been a lot of transactions that they don't have, it's not been considered, and they have poor customer service. So the question was more in comparison with the SBI cashback.
Okay, in that case, given that you have already faced the problems, I think then Swiggy card is good. I know that for some people it is not working, the cashback card is not working, but again, it depends. I think from my experience, the problem is generally with 3 or 4 merchants, and also with some of the travel merchants, that they are not giving the 5% cashback. Otherwise it is good. But given that you are having a problem, I think Swiggy card is a great alternative. Yes. And speaking of Atlas, I think you are already maxing out with the Occur. Occur is really a good option. If you wanted to explore more than Occur, beyond Occur, I think Aeroplane is always good. I mean, it again depends on what do you wanted to use it for. So I personally transfer to ITC or Occur based on my need. So Atlas points are miles are usually good for that, is what I would say. So what are you intending to do it? Like, what's your options? What are your other options? Like, do you prefer to use it for ITC or Aeroplan, or do you want business class, or do you want economy? Like, what is your interest so that I
So
could
normally it's for domestic economy flights and hotel stays. So I tried it with Air India and a couple of others, but they have a poor conversion rate. So if you have any suggestions on that.
Right. So domestic, I wouldn't suggest at all. Air India is probably the very low rewarding conversion partner, I would say, with the Axis, and that's why they have put it in the Group B, of course. So I wouldn't suggest doing that. I think ITC is good. In fact, some I know they use the ITH voucher through ITC points, but it gives a little lower value, which is like 80 pies, which is 80% of the ITC point value. But it still gives them access to so many options, like they can book the cars, they can book the airport transfers. I think the airport transfer is there, and then you can book any flight. So there is no limitation. So I know a few who are sitting on like few lakh of points on ITC. They are using they're converting to ITH vouchers and using it. So that is something you could explore if you wanted to like domestic travel, like Indigo for example. But generally speaking, if you want options for domestic travel, I would suggest to go for the S-Bank Markway card or even the Reserve card with the subscription. I personally use the S-Bank cards for all my domestic travel. So for example, like if I wanted to fly Indigo or any airline for that matter, I use the S-Bank card points only these days. So that is fully reserved for the domestic travel, because otherwise there are no other options. Like HDFC I can use, but where else can I use the S-Bank points? And also one of the biggest advantage of the S-Bank, not really many speak about, is it doesn't have the convenience fee. So sometimes I get a very cheap flight for, like example, 1,200 or 1,500, and I don't need to pay the 300 or 400, 600 convenience fee for that. So that is an additional advantage. So I would say explore S-Bank cards for the domestic travel.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Akash. So we have another like we have around 10 questions in the Q&A. So let's make it. So from Nakul Deshmukh, I'm using SCB Manhattan card and HDFC Regalia. Any specific benefit for these cards?
Manhattan, not really. Regalia used to be an amazing card, but no more. If you're having Regalia, consider exploring an upgrade to Regalia Gold. Generally, you can get it for free. So I would say that, because Regalia and Regalia First, they have devalued extensively. It's almost like user's card now. So Regalia Gold is something I would suggest. If you have said Regalia, it's Regalia Gold, I would suggest to upgrade to. And Manhattan these days, I have not seen a single person with Manhattan. It's a pretty old card. I'm sure you would have got it pretty early in life. So this is not really a great card, I would say. They have a card for fuel that is good at times, but generally speaking, no. These days, even the super premium cards like the Ultimate with the Standard Chartered, it is not good at all. There are so many cards in the market that I would never suggest SAB cards, especially the Manhattan, because in that segment you could look for even the Amazon, Flipkart cards are also good in that segment, and even the cashback card again wins every other credit card for the entry level segment. Yeah.
So from Mohammed Fayaz, What is the benefit of taking lifetime free charge credit card? Will they change any in future?
Lifetime cards are always like they keep changing. They can't. No bank can give a card lifetime free and keep the benefits intact. So it will change. It is not worth going for, I would say. Especially, I think you said free charge card, right? So did you mention free charge card? It's not worth it, I would say. It's not popular also in the segment, but if you have found any specific benefit in the card and if you think it's going to be useful for your profile, it is good. But generally, for common segment for that segment, it is not a popular card.
Do we have any international lounge access on ICICI credit card? I have Coral. Can I redeem it?
Yeah, it is there, but depends on the card variant again. These days they have put a spend criteria again. But generally speaking, for lounge access, ICC cards is not the one you need to go for. So if the profile is
sorry to interrupt. Like we have a similar question, so that you can answer both together.
Okay.
It is from Sanjesh. He said, "Hi, which card is better in ICICI?" Since we're talking about ICICI, let's club it both and answer.
The only card, there are only two cards I would say that is good. One is the Amazon card. I think they have sold a few million cards now. It is one of the best in the country, easy to get and pretty good rewards, just lifetime free, one of the best lifetime free cards. It is good, but there are so many other options if you can explore, like just we spoke, the cashback card is SB cashback card is good. But as you're asking for ICC alone, only that card is good. No other cards, all the gemstone cards, nothing is useful. I think I've been refreshing this best cards list for almost like 10 years now. I have not even put that ICC card, like anything other than Amazon Pay, in that list. Speaking of which, recently they have launched the ICC Emerald card, Emerald the private and Emerald card. Those two cards are pretty good. So either it has to be the Amazon or the Emerald cards. And one of the advantages these days with the Emerald private card or even the Emerald card is they give access to the VIP lounge in the 080 lounge in Bangalore. There is a VIP section. It's called Courtyard. They're giving access to that only with the Emerald cards. So that is some good advantage if you're looking for the invite only credit cards with ICC Bank. Otherwise, most cards are kind of not really rewarding with ICC Bank. Yeah.
So it's from Paide Raju. He says, regarding the CIBIL score, is it beneficial to have a higher credit card limit even if spending remains low?
Yes, it is good. It's not really directly influenced with the CIBIL score. Okay, I'll tell you. So the credit limit generally doesn't affect the CIBIL score because CIBIL generally does not calculate or does not take your credit limit into account most of the time. What they do is they see your high credit. High credit is nothing but the highest you have spent with your credit limit. So that is the high credit. And when I used to analyze multiple profiles, usually that is what they look for, and that is what they use it as a credit limit, not the actual credit limit that the banks are providing. Because the thing is, you might have like 50 lakh credit limit, but if you have not used it, if you're not repaid it, what is the point of having that much limit? Because it is just in the air, right? It is not actually used. So if you want your credit limit to be affected positively by the CIBIL, consider going closer to the limit and then start using regularly, like 20-30% of the limit. So that is one. When speaking about the CIBIL and all that stuff. But the other most important thing about the credit limit is you get a better cards. Like for example, you would need 60 lakh ITR to get the HDFC Infinia. But you can also get it if you have the existing HDFC Bank credit card with 8 lakh limit and 8 lakh spend on the card in the previous year. So your credit limit is useful for various reasons, especially for the upgrades. So, I mean, this 8 lakh, they keep changing to 8 lakh or 10 lakh. So see to it, but this is how it works. HDFC is pretty good. So higher credit limit, always take it whenever you get it. But if you're afraid of misuse or all that stuff, you can always limit your online spending ability or offline spending ability on the app, so that it is not misused by anyone else, or by even you don't need to cross that particular limit. So you can take a 10 lakh limit, accept the 10 lakh limit if the bank is giving, but you can set yourself like you don't want to spend more than 2 lakh or something, 3 lakh, something like that. So it is good. And also, if you have a higher credit limit and if it is reported to civil, even if it's not directly affecting your civil score, as I said, credit limit is not a direct factor. Instead, the high credit is the important factor. So, but still, it has an advantage, because when you're getting a different credit card from a different issuer, they know that you have a higher credit limit, so they will give you an equivalent credit limit. So, higher credit limits are always good. Take it when you get it.
Yeah. So we have a question from Vikram Mishra. What is the name of website you own, where you list all the credit card things? Also, do you have a YouTube channel? So,
okay, it's Card Expert, CARD.
so can you drop in the chat box so that everyone can go there and visit? So, is there any chance that they can ask you any queries regarding their problems or whatever they have doubts through any particular medium, so that they get an answer for that, or if they can read the blog, they might understand. So, can you brief in that way?
Right.
Yeah.
Just a second. I think I have listed the contact, and also the cardexpert.in. This is the website, and
Okay.
there is a link called Best Credit Cards. Just go to that link, and you will have all the best credit cards there. It is on the top left if you're checking it on the web browser. So that's about it. And by the way, should I just close this? Okay. No, not really. Thank you. It's still ongoing. So sorry. So cardexpert.in is a brand, and that is a blog. And I do not have the YouTube channel, or I'm not active elsewhere. I'm usually active on Cardexpert. I'm also a little bit active on Twitter. That Twitter link, you can just Google it, you get everything. So yeah, that is where I am. But actually, last 2 years I'm not active, because almost every month or two I'm traveling. So almost every 2 months I'm traveling, and the previous month I'm planning on travel, so I couldn't really write much about my travel stories recently, because after COVID I have accumulated a lot of points, so I'm just redeeming the points. So probably within a month or two I would be done with most of the stuff, and I should be start writing again. So probably you could see a lot more travel stories. But at the moment, you have almost all the active major credit cards reviewed properly. I have reviewed in detail. So definitely you can check out cardexpert.in.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And before winding the session, let's answer a last question. And rest all the questions will be addressed also from, if you can go there and you can search if you have any doubts in Siddharth's website. So there's one doubt from Purnima. I'm currently using HDFC Regalia Gold, IDFC HPCL RuPay credit card, HDFC Swiggy, and one card. Which other card you will suggest to add in the portfolio? So she
SBI cashback card. I think I've been repeating that card so much, so that I feel like a brand ambassador for SBI, which is not actually. But it is actually an amazing card. I'm sure it actually got devalued. Earlier, we used to get 10,000 cashback up to 2 lakh spend every month, but now they reduced it to 1 lakh. Now we can get only 5,000 cashback a month. But even then, I feel it is pretty high. And given that I have explored the cashback cards, or the cards per se, across many countries, I have not seen a card like this. I mean, also I have not seen a card like this in the last 10 years in Indian industry itself. So that's an amazing cashback card worth exploring at the moment. So cashback card is what I would say. So what I would suggest generally is for those who are having or exploring the cashback card, or if you have a problem with the cashback card, so they are not giving that 5% cashback for some merchants. So that is where you have to be careful. So I would always suggest do some normal small spend with the merchant, and then check back your online SBI statement after 3 days, you will see whether you are getting the cashback or not. It will say the cashback after your last statement, something like that. You can check and then decide whether you have to go with that card or not. So yes, for most I know, like more than 90% of those I know is just like so happy with the SBI cashback card. So it's worth it. Consider exploring that card. Yeah.
So there's a last question. We'll wind it up the session since we are running out of time. Sorry, guys. Sorry, folks, for not answering all the questions. We
I can
will
also do
definitely
a quick,
bring.
super quick. I can
Yeah,
also do super quick if you can. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see.
So the question is best credit card for freshers who have just started their career and earns a reasonable salary.
Go with the card that you have the salary account with. Go
Okay.
for any card, any entry level card with the bank where you have the salary account. Simple. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So best card for UPI payments.
Tata new cards. It can be Infinity or the Plus card. There are multiple versions. So explore, please.
Okay. I think there's a question. I love traveling on my bike throughout India. Which card would be best for on-road expenses and for stays?
Stays again. It's complicated. We can't put it quick. Okay, stays again. I would say ITC is good, but then yeah, ITC has amazing properties. Okay, so I think assuming that you're doing bike travel, you might explore the Fortune hotels with ITC, which you can also redeem their points for, which is not as expensive as the usual ITC hotel. So it's in the range of 3,000 to 5,000. So ITC hotels is what I would suggest, which is you can use the Access Atlas card to transfer to ITC and use it. So Access Atlas is what I would suggest. And for fuel, you can consider the solution which we gave some time back. Yeah, that's something you can explore.
Yeah, so that's all. That's all the questions
Great.
we got. And thank you so much, Siddharth, and thank you, everyone. The questions were so insightful that I myself learned many things. Thank you
Great.
so much. We will bring back Siddharth again if you people really like. So please give me your feedback on your screens and leave the session. Thank you.
Great. Thank you,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Thanks for all
Yeah.
the interesting questions. And thanks to Shrikant for handling the entire session. Thank you.
Yeah,
Have a
thank you.
good evening.